I'm going to be inviting our moderator on stage, Fasieh Mehta. Please join me. The conversation is gaming level up from concept to screen. Fasieh is the Unreal Engine business lead for MENA, Africa, and Pakistan in Epic Games. He will be joined by Isra Shabir from Girls Makes Games, which has reached over 22,000 girls worldwide and is bridging the gender gap in the gaming industry. Shaun Ansari, an Unreal authorized instructor partner at Epic Games and the co-founder of Reality Forge, which is trying to make Unreal Engine mentorship accessible in Pakistan, so important. Imran Khan, not PTI wale Imran Khan. Imran Khan, founder and CEO of Raptor Games. Yaser Awan, director of Labs Mindstorm Studios, and Shayan Zaeem, the co-founder and president of Revolving Games. All right, did everyone come to the front? Okay, I think you guys are all set. Good luck.
So, am I audible? All right, thank you. So first of all, congratulations to all the organizers of this fabulous event. I was just talking to a friend. It seems like Eid time. You know, it's Eid when you meet your friends and family after a long time. It's been that moment. So if you felt that way, let's have a little applause for everyone who made this happen, right? And Pakistan की जो community है ना tech की, वो बहुत छोटी सी है. दिखने में बहुत बड़ी है, 2-3 हज़ार बंदा आ जाता है, but वाकई it's a very small world. और ये जो gaming की community है, उससे भी छोटी है. वो दिख भी रहे हैं, चंद लोग बैठे हैं अभी, जो interested हैं. और it's been a struggle, to be honest, right? To get to the fact that the realization of this to be recognized as a collective with a strength of its own under the larger umbrella of IT industry of Pakistan or IT enabled service industry of Pakistan. But there is a reason that we are here and we are continuously advocating about it. Okay, if the world is going towards this, what are we doing? Why are we not really geared up to catch this wave again? ये ना हो कि फिर कहीं यार late हो गए हम. तो अभी हम इतने late शायद नहीं हुए. So we'll talk about it. We've had 2 similar panels in Lahore and in Islamabad, where we talked about very generically around games, right? Today the topic is also from level to concept, from the screen to concept, और उसमें एक बहुत important जो concept to screen जो भी है, उसमें सबसे एक important चीज़ ये है कि वो एक product की journey पे बात हो रही है, कि game कैसे बनानी है, but I'll try to deviate from that a little bit. वो तो हम बताएंगे थोड़ा सा कि game कैसे बनानी है, पूछेंगे सबसे, लेकिन जो सबसे important part है कि what is it that we need right now as an industry to catch this wave? What is it that's missing? What we're doing? So let's start. We have a great panel here. Everybody has a set of achievements that I'm sure they'd like to talk about because मुझे कहा गया कि time is very, very short. So I'll skip that part and I'll start shooting with the questions. But a very brief intro, if you can tell about what you do, starting from you, Isra.
Thank you so much, Fasieh. I hope everyone can hear, and obviously thank you all for sticking around because definitely this was a long day. My name is Isra, and I work for Girls Make Games. We teach video game development to girls all around the world. We're primarily based in the US, but right now we're trying to bring game development to the Pakistani audience, and it's super exciting that, you know, gaming is part of this conference and we can talk about how to shake things up.
Thank you, Isra. Ji, Shaun Ansari.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Tired. My name is Shaun Ansari. I am an Unreal authorized instructor and the founder of Reality Forge, which is Pakistan's only authorized training center from Epic Games. We're working very hard to make Unreal Engine training accessible to everyone in Pakistan so that when bigger projects come our way, we are better equipped for it.
Thank you, Shaun. Imran.
Assalamu alaikum ji. I'm Imran Khan. So I represent Raptor Games, and Raptor is basically a local game ecosystem company, and we are focused on mobilizing the gamer community through various tools. You know, we have a media platform for gamers, IGN, which is the largest in the world. We produce original content for gamers. We also are launching a streaming platform only for gamers in Pakistan so that they can stream their content on it. And we're trying to create a local gamer ecosystem so that, as Fasieh said, gaming can be more mainstream in Pakistan and not just on the fringes in terms of business avenues and other things.
Thank you.
My name is Zaeem, and I'm the co-founder of Awan Games. Started in the industry about 10 plus years ago. Worked on some fun games like Fruit Ninja and Sims and a bunch of other games. And got an exit in 2017, and this is my third startup. And yeah.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. I'm Yaser Awan. I'm director of labs at Mindstorm Studios. Mindstorm Studios is one of the top game development studios in Pakistan, and over there, I basically run Mindstorm Labs, which is one of the largest initiatives in Pakistan when it comes to industry exposure and trainings for students and young learners.
Thank you, guys. So, some of you have built games, most of you have played games. Some of you guys are training people to how to build games, right? Let's start from the journey part first. Okay, when people say they want to create a game, and a game can be for many reasons, right? It can be entertainment, it can be education, it can be both, right? And through games, we don't just target the recreation purpose, but there are many others. So where does it start from? What's the first thing? Does it need always 10 people and some $1 million funding, or it can be just a few to start? I know there are lots of examples where just one person has built some amazing games and bagged some great awards, but let's hear it from the industry. So would you like to comment on this first, Shayan?
No, of course, you can start with like a one-man army. One of the most successful games called Flappy Bird that I guess everyone was addicted to at one point was made by one guy. And I think that was doing about 40 to 80K a month in USD. So yeah, you don't need a big team. We've got amazing softwares, engines that we can work on, like Unreal, Unity, that you could build off very quickly. I think you could probably go into a boot camp, 3-month, 4-month boot camp, and come onto those softwares and be able to create a good, fun, entertainment game.
Great. Would you like to comment on this?
Yes, I think it's never been easier than ever before to make a game if you have a good idea, because software is available now on the internet, or we have YouTube, we have so many resources to learn things that you don't have to go to a school for. So I think if you have a good idea and you want to start, now is a good time to do it. Even one person can go. It's just about having the right intention and the right drive to stay consistent with making your game.
Yaser, in your opinion, what are the three key things? आप बहुत लोगों को पढ़ा रहे हैं, आपका स्टार्टअप्स के साथ भी काफ़ी अरसे से वाबस्तगी है, यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साथ भी काम कर रहे हैं, एकेडेमिया के साथ, जो कि एक लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेटेजिक अप्रोच है, और एक शॉर्ट टर्म है कि क्विकली द बूट कैंप्स करें, स्किल्स हों, बंदे मार्केट में आए, एम्प्लॉयबल हों, दे स्टार्ट मेकिंग मनी. So what are those 3 key things that you think anyone needs to go in the market and build a game?
आपने पूछा पहले कि गेम बनानी हो तो क्या करें, तो सबसे आसान जवाब तो ये होता है जो काम करना है उसको करना शुरू कर दें और वो खुद ब खुद होना शुरू हो जाएगा. लेकिन आई थिंक कि व्हेन यू आर लुकिंग टूवर्ड्स कि आपने गेम बनानी है तो सबसे पहले समझना ज़रूरी है, एंड इट्स वेरी एसेंस कि गेम अच्छी गेम कैसे होती है और एक गेम बुरी गेम कैसे होती है. बुनियादी तौर पर इफ़ यू कैन टेल दिस डिफरेंस तो यू आर ऑन द राइट पाथ, और फिर आप बनाना शुरू करते हैं, काम करना शुरू करते हैं तो काम होना शुरू हो जाता है. आई थिंक सबसे बड़ा जो चैलेंज है इन टर्म्स ऑफ वो है ब्रेकिंग द कंडीशनिंग. वी इन आवर सोसाइटी इन लॉट ऑफ अदर सोसाइटीज़ वी रेज्ड इन अ वे कि हमारी एक सर्टन कंडीशनिंग बिल्ट होती है. वी आर जनरली बीइंग शव्ड इन अ बॉक्स एंड काइंड लाइक पुश्ड टू थिंक लाइक एवरीबडी एल्स डज, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स अ कंडीशनिंग दैट वी नीड टू ब्रेक फर्स्ट. और उसके बाद जो इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है वो ये कि एक्सपोजर जो है ना वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. वी ऑफन फोकस अ लॉट ऑन एजुकेशन व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट ट्रेनिंग्स एंड वी टॉक अबाउट लर्निंग टू डू समथिंग, बट आई थिंक एजुकेशन के साथ साथ जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है वो एक्सपोजर है. इफ़ यू नॉट रियली अवेयर ऑफ दैट समथिंग एग्जिस्ट, you won't be able to perceive the opportunities that lie ahead of you.
देखिए, इसमें थोड़ी सी एक और बात करूं मैं. पाकिस्तान में बहुत सारे गेम स्टूडियोज़ हैं, अभी रफ एस्टिमेट है कि तकरीबन 200 से ज़्यादा है, और ये जो कलेक्टिव एक इंडस्ट्री का ग्रुप है इसको AGG कहते हैं, एनिमेशन ग्राफिक्स एंड गेमिंग, बिकॉज देयर इज़ अ लॉट दैट ओवरलैप्स बिकॉज ऑफ द नेचर ऑफ 3D विजुअलाइजेशन. एंड with those 200 studios, and the rough estimates are that there are more than 6,000 people employed across those studios. I'm sure there are more, लेकिन अभी तक कोई स्टडी नहीं है, कोई ऐसा डेटा सेट नहीं है जो गाइड कर सके कि what's the benchmark and from where we are, where we need to go, what is the need of the industry, and उसके लिए सबसे जो important चीज़ है वो है कोई सर्वे का होना. So I just want to share the fact here as well that Yaser is part of that team. We are leading an initiative as part of the industry to do that survey so that everyone who's here, whether sitting as an investor, whether sitting as a prospective game developer or someone from the outside the ecosystem who's just curious on studying it, would have that data. Moving on from there, जो सबसे एक important चीज़ है वो हम अक्सर देखते हैं कि अभी आपने कहा कि आसान है, पहले काम होता है, पहला स्टेप प्लेयर बना दें, तो लोग कहते हैं अच्छा ट्रक की बत्ती के पीछे वाली बात अभी वो आफिया कर रही थी, तो बहुत सारी गेम्स हैं वो सिर्फ ट्रक के ऊपर है कि 50 टाइटल होंगे और काम एक ही होगा, ट्रक पार्क कर दो. आई एम नॉट लाइक डिस्ग्रेसिंग एनीवन, लेकिन सिंपल चीज़ है, लोग कहते हैं इट्स क्विक मनी, राइट? हम छोटी सी गेम बनाएं, एड रेवेन्यू आता है, लेकिन देन देयर इज़ अ डायलेमा कि वो लोग दे डोंट मूव ऑन फ्रॉम देयर टू क्रिएट $100 million product or a game that can have 10 million or 100 million downloads or something which can be their own IP but at a very bigger level. So what do you think is that roadblock? Is it a founder dilemma that they don't think at that level? So let's have that comment starting from you. Sure. I would like everyone to respond to this.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem here is generally not having enough resources in ecosystem when you're trying to build and stay consistent. मतलब अगर एक community ही नहीं है जिसमें like people are encouraging ideas and pushing each other, it's going to be harder. And this is the fact of this is a state of matter. Like Pakistan में इस वक्त ये community नहीं है, and that's probably the one thing that everyone here is trying to build on. So like everyone said, it's easy to get started, but then to stay consistent, you have to have the resources. And thankful to a lot of people here, there are like game hackathons, like game jams, and IGDAs doing different things. So obviously, just staying a part of those communities, staying plugged in, will help you kind of retain your, I guess, passion. Hey, if this didn't work, let me try something else. If I'm as a one-man team not able to create something, let me join with 2 others. Let me pitch it to someone. But for that, you need to have people in the industry. And that's one thing that's separating, let's say, the US from the rest of the world at this point, because the US is a very concentrated economy in games. So I guess what we need to focus on is to build this ecosystem, to build that community resources, and we need leaders for that.
I appreciate you mentioned ecosystem and a community of resources.
Yeah.
Let's take your comment as well on this, Shaun.
So I agree as well that the ecosystem is very important, because to build a game that earns millions like that, you need multiple teams across multiple studios in a concentrated effort. I don't think Pakistan, that is impossible for Pakistan by any means. I think it just needs time. It needs a little bit of consistency. Because now we have resources to do that. More and more people are experimenting with games. We both know Unreal, for example, is a free engine. Anyone can download it and experiment with it. But this allows more people to enter the ecosystem. Over time, that critical mass will be reached where we will be willing to take bigger risks because we have more people in a concentrated effort. That community will grow. It just needs time. It will happen. And I think, like Isra said, we just need to be supportive and be patient with that process. We see games from the West and we always measure ourselves against that, but they've had more time to do that. I think we can do it as well.
Imran, बहुत evolution देखा है हमने. आप भी उस ज़माने के हैं जिस ज़माने का almost मैं हूँ. और 2D games होती थी, angle tilt करके उनको 2.5D या 3D की एक.
I still love 2D games, man.
Yeah, हाँ, और एक look दी जाती थी. मतलब evolution की बात कर.
Yeah.
And now this is we are यहाँ बहुत high fidelity, hyper real भी है, stylized, tunized भी हैं, लेकिन इतना immersive है कि बाज़-औक़ात लोग समझते हैं कि we need just some games, और हर एक का mood और हर एक की अपनी एक need है. कुछ को चाहिए very addictive short ones like 5-10 minutes. I don't want to refresh. And some people really need to be hooked on, really need to the feel कि हमें challenged होना चाहिए intellectually. So Pakistan में you as a now founder as well for building a similar platform. क्या वो challenge है? Why is it you think कि वो bubble just because of the community not having enough resources नहीं हो रहा है, या कोई और हमारे इर्द-गिर्द इतना risk नहीं ले रहा है कि हम भी open हो जाएं कि यार इसने भी लिया था, they made it fine, they shared their story, I'll do it. Your comments on that?
I'll try to quickly answer your question in 2 parts quickly. First of all, if you want any industry to grow, there has to be substantial local consumption of that product or service. अगर आप इंडिया की मिसाल लेते हैं, US की लेते हैं, चाइना की लेते हैं, चलो चाइना की ले लेते हैं. Let's forget India and US for a minute. The largest consumers of Chinese games are Chinese themselves. आज आप उन पे embargo भी लगा दें, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा उनको. And that is because they've effectively created a distribution ecosystem internally where local talent, local products produced by local talent is distributed and made popular and supported, and everybody plays it. Whether it's hyper casual that earns via ad engines, or whether it's deeply immersive first-person shooter role-playing game. आपने शायद Unreal पे भी देखा, one of the most beautiful those Chinese mythology वाली game जो अभी आ रही है, yeah, Black King वाली, and it's from China, right? So. But how do they build on that? Because there's been local consumption that has given them that ecosystem and that inspiration, that drive. That's number one. Number two, that is directly related to funds. Pakistan ka masla ye hai ki everybody on the investment table loves to talk about gaming as a great opportunity to invest, but nobody wants to invest in gaming because they cannot see or visualize the metrics of profiting from it, because they're not used to that business model. So they're used to GMV based models, ke ji groceries or ye or wo sari cheezein. So they know it's valuable, but they can't put it on a piece of paper. So वो invest नहीं करते. और जब भी आप बात करते हैं ना फ्लैपिंग बर्ड या किसी चीज़ से आगे जाके कोई अच्छी चीज़ बनाना, उसके लिए कैपिटल चाहिए, स्टूडियो चाहिए, लोग हायर करने, हार्डवेयर खरीदना है. जब कोई पैसा नहीं लगाएगा तो आप कैसे करेंगे? And not everybody can be as fortunate as a handful of studios who had that exposure to go abroad and get that money. So unless you're producing an ecosystem that promotes mass market adoption of anything, you will not burst the bubble. Those are my 2 points.
Thank you. You've raised a point actually on which I think it's very right that Shayan now speaks. You've raised money, you've worked with big studios, Universal and whatnot. पिछले पैनल्स में एक बार ये बात हुई थी कि पाकिस्तान के जो गेमिंग इंडस्ट्री के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम पब्लिशिंग है. You've done that quite well for yourself, for your company. And we also discussed last time that you were also among the few studios who've hired even PhDs. And it's not just a game design or development part, it's the story, it's the whole thing, it's the physics, it's the psychology behind it that also needs to be catered to if you're building that big of a product. So if you've been through that journey, और अभी जो पहले आपसे 3 लोगों ने बात की है, वो हैं जो उस जर्नी में शायद किसी और पाथ पे हैं अभी, right? या किसी और स्टेज पे हैं. So what do you think is not happening? And I would particularly pick the point that Imran raised on the investor part. कि क्या investors or VCs, and I know some VCs and friends here, and I met you guys a few hours ago as well, and they asked the same thing, we probably need to sit together with the industry to realize how is this business different from the regular startups or businesses that we invest in. So if you'd like to share your thoughts on that.
Sure. I'll sort of revert back to your original question where you started from. I think the inherent problem in the Pakistani ecosystem is everyone wants to get rich quick, right? Get rich quick. The games that you see here, of course, not to name some studios, they're actually doing pretty all right for as a Pakistani studio. I think some are making upwards to $8 million a year.
Yep.
Annually, that's good, and that's a lot of money living in Pakistan, right? So that's where you become complacent, and you don't want to take bigger risks, right?
There you go.
So that's the biggest problem. And you know, success generally doesn't come overnight. Even though sometimes people, you know, if you see someone do something well, you tend to think that, oh my God, you know, either it's a bit of luck or they just became rich overnight, or you know. So anyways, for us, like, you know, our mentality has been very different. We take massive risks. That's what we've always been like inherently, because our parents were entrepreneurs. And we believe in the long-term game. And I feel like in the long term, if you're able to hit the nail in the coffin, I think that you're probably going to end up making, if making money is something important to you, probably not just $5 million, you end up making like you said, you know, 100 million, 200 million. And the problem is our benchmarks, they're too low, right? We should set our benchmark to a point where, like, I think Yaser was sitting here earlier, the founder of Kareem. He said that, you know, their mantra is from to the moon and beyond.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how we should think. We shouldn't be like, okay, you know, we've done 5 million, we're making a lot of money, good. But how do you bring that back to your ecosystem? Are you investing in your ecosystem first and foremost, right? Probably not. Probably buying real estate. That's what everyone loves to do. So anyways, the solution, I feel like, you know, we can obviously discuss problems and issues. Solution, I feel, is we're very close to it. There's some studios that I see, for example, Mindstorm. I've seen some of their products. They're amazing, right? Epic is now officially, or almost in Pakistan.
Almost.
Almost, right. And I think that's going to be pretty epic when they're here. So Turkey, like a couple of years ago, I give their example. I don't necessarily like to compare ourselves to India, but Turkey was nowhere like 5-6 years ago. And then they came up with 1 or 2 really good products. They sold a few studios for like over $1 billion. And I think we're very close to that. Very close to that. Yes, we're a very few handful studios in Pakistan, but I think the quality that's coming out, and I think that that's going to be the story for everyone going forward, right? And I think that's where people are going to start taking risks in the next few years.
Yeah, great. I mean, but if you could also comment on the investor mindset part.
Yeah.
What is it that puts us as a gaming studio so different, and why it cannot be, why the same developers who are very creative, may have a skill, may not have an experience of publishing before, right? Why can't they attract, and any advice for them?
Yeah, so if I understand you correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that it's hard for them to possibly raise money in Pakistan, is that what you're asking?
No. Yeah, so raising money in Pakistan for a game at a concept stage is very difficult right now. So your thoughts on that, because you've raised already.
Sure. It's hard, and I would say that it should be hard. Because firstly, the studios that mostly exist in Pakistan, like I said, their model is not scalable to begin with. So I think that they need to rework their model a little bit to even get investment. And secondly, gentleman next to me earlier mentioned that I think traditional VCs, especially existing in Pakistan, it's still a new concept of VCs in Pakistan relatively as well, right? Their understanding of, investing in some long-term projects which are gaming and did not work on the GMV model is probably alien to them as well. So I think it's also on us to sort of educate them that, hey, we have a model where people spend over $200 billion in the industry, and it's far more than Hollywood as well. So there's a lot of potential, and I feel like if you pick 1 or 2 studios who I don't know if they'd like to be named or not, but the products that they're working on are tremendous, and I feel like there is talent out there that they could potentially invest in. For us personally, how we mitigated risk was we partnership up with Universal Studios, so we got the rights for Battlestar Galactica, and that's just one of the games that I can talk about right now. But that's one way of going about it, where you already have that audience. Because generally the thing is that it's really expensive to market games. Yeah. Right? Because of the user
very important cost. Point, but I'll ask this in the next round. So Yaser, एक बड़ी important चीज़ अभी इन्होंने कही कि people easily get contented. एक reason ये भी है, we have this common background that we worked with startups, coached them and mentored them through our previous roles. They come from very humble backgrounds. It's from zero, nothing. It's just an idea that most of the time these entrepreneurs come to you with. And then they build it into something, and the money starts flowing in. And then they start hiring. And it's like a tribe that grows, right? It's 20, 25 people. They might be making good $20,000-$25,000 a month. And I'm giving you a real example of a person who started this business actually in Rawalpindi. And then they get contented with it. They don't think that $30,000 a month can become $3 million a month. They can become a $100 million company. They have to go for an eye for an exit. They have to think beyond just the small market they might be serving, which for them might be big because of the download, but can go real big. You're working on 2 things, working with universities, which is a more strategic long-term thing as M Labs on the curriculum side, and also working with startups and game studios on developing their existing skill set around all the areas that require game design development. If you could shed some light on that part, and also discuss, is this a part of it, the thinking being the big part, right? Where you really challenge someone's vision.
So I think there's so much that has been said around this particular topic in this panel as well. And I think when it comes to the startup ecosystem in Pakistan or the gaming ecosystem in Pakistan, I think both these industries can learn a lot from each other. So first thing first, if you look at games are the cutting edge of the product. At the end of the day, they are the most complicated products that you can build. So I think the first cultural shift that we need is, in general, is the product mindset. And that's one thing we kind of like really focus on in M Labs when we're talking about helping people or creating pathways for people to learn and approach game development or game art and program design. We're primarily telling them, okay, you can take this skill, you can take it to the gaming industry, you can take it to any other industry, and it'll work. But gaming industry isliye cutting edge of the cutting edge hai, because if you need a skin of a rhino and that's the skin of an entrepreneur and aapko itni thick skin chahiye, that's the game development or game studio wali criteria. If startups fail at a certain percentage, I think gaming studios fail 100x of that. So just to give you a quick example, when we were working in hyper-casual vertical, we no longer work in hyper-casual games, but when we published 6 games with Line Studios, which is one of the big publishers in hyper-casual space. We failed 144 times to build those 6 games. And that's how you have to be when it comes to building products. Now, having said that, we talk a lot about, so ecosystem जो है ना वो change होता है जब कोई success story निकलती है. Essentially वो जो push आता है ना ecosystem में, छोटी-छोटी चीजें होती रहती हैं, but one success story, आज जुनेद यहाँ थे, मुदस्सिर यहाँ थे, the kind of thing for the Pakistani ecosystem what Kareem did, and आप post Kareem or pre Kareem अगर आप ecosystem को देखते हैं, there's a big shift. That's primarily because, okay, this is something people want to see कि अच्छा ये हो सकता है. वो जो एक reaffirmation आती है ना कि ये हो सकता है, वो बड़ा important है. इसी तरह से हमने products की बात की. If you're building the wrong business, अगर हम content होने से पहले बात करें, तो you have the different culture. जो शायान ने जैसे बात की, I think innovation crazy, little bit of crazy, a lot of crazy से ही आती है. If you have that craziness, only then you'll bring in innovation. अगर आप एक typical mindset से चलते हैं, you can't bring that change. And similarly, if you look at basically this industry, तो हमें जो करने की ज़रूरत है वो यही करने की ज़रूरत है. We need to think big, but we need to take baby steps towards it. एक और छोटी सी चीज़, since we no longer work in hyper casual, तो ये अब मैं कह सकता हूँ कि हम generally एक myth है, we associate quality with a particular kind of game, and that's not true. There could be really quality product in hyper casual industry as well. Say Games is a great example. आप Say Games की कोई भी game उठा के देखते हैं, hyper casual games, you'll fall in love with it. इतनी अच्छी होती है. So I think we need to take baby steps. We'll get there. On the investor front, I feel कि locally awareness के साथ-साथ there is a lot of strategic depth that is needed as well. So या तो पहले first few investors or the second generation, कुछ तो companies ने locally they raised money in this industry, not a lot but a few. But I think we'll need some strategic investors first, and then there will be other people who will step up and say, okay, we are willing to invest in this industry.
I agree. Hyper casual, casual हो या mid core double A title हो, उसके अंदर भी बहुत categories हैं. It's just that how the gameplay is, how immersive it is, how addictive it is. I'll quickly jump on to, I'm looking at the timer clock, so I'll quickly jump on to 2-3 areas जो भी बहुत ज़रूरी है बात करने वाले. Unfortunate है ये कि इस इंडस्ट्री में भी बहुत कम रिप्रेजेंटेशन है ख़वातीन की, और उसकी बहुत सारी रीजंस हैं. पेरेंट्स भी अभी भी समझते हैं कि ये बड़ा एक नॉन सीरियस सा सेक्टर है कि गेम डेवलपर्स में जाओ, गेम बनाओ, या even become a e-sport player, right? Although my friend Shaun here shared a fact some time back कि जो e-sports का सबसे बड़ा टूर्नामेंट है डोटा, उसका एक प्लेयर on average $1.34 million बैक करता है. That is much more than any other sports entertainment around the world. NFL, NBA, कुछ भी उठा लें, कोई भी ऐसा entertainment या sports का sector नहीं है जिसके एक event का prize money per person इससे ज़्यादा हो. So point is कि ये बहुत बड़ी, sorry.
I was saying I remember it said combine उन सबको मिला के even esports is bigger than all.
Yeah. सबको मिला के भी बहुत बड़ा. Exactly my point. So एक तो वो seriousness नहीं है parents के end पे, और दूसरा ये कि बहुत सारे लोगों को ये skill सीखना है. आप ये काम कर रही हैं, globally भी कर रहे हैं, पाकिस्तान के लिए भी सोच रहे हैं. So quickly for those who want to quickly get into this, what is it that they need to do, and what is it that you can help them with?
Thank you for asking this, because this is so important. I mean, it's a big industry, but half the population is missing. So we are really not banking on it. And this goes to all of you studio developers out here too. You guys are not, you need to bank on this half population. An interesting fact is that 70% of mobile gamers are actually women, which is a really big number. Like pretty much a lot of the people I talked to in the audience today, they all told me how they play mobile games, and they're all women. So mobile gaming is booming. I mean, we can at least start there. It's already something that's, you know, like it's not a new concept at this point. We can make more games. But for someone who wants to, you know, get started into making games, I think you have to first start playing games. If you don't play different kinds of games, if you don't know what different genres look like, what is it to even experience a game? Like, you know, someone gave me an example once, like, if you want to be a CEO of like a biryani shop, you need to know what the biryani tastes like at the end of the day. So you need to know what games are like. And this goes for both women and men. Our approach is that, you know, because this is such a complex issue, like the whole negative perception around gaming, you know, like we target a younger age. Like we want to start as early as 80-year-olds, people who can actually use a mouse and a keyboard. We want to give them games at that age. So we give them, you know, like a play mode. वो आते हैं बच्चे, they're so like excited just to play games. And then in that hype, we start making them, you know, create the games as well. And obviously we don't want to throw them into like the deep end of things. So we make our curriculum that's easy to understand. And if anyone's interested in this audience or otherwise, please look up girlsmakegames.com. We do have free workshops all the time. Unfortunately, they're primarily for women, but we do have like co-ed stuff too. So yeah, come join us.
Thank you. And I hope you achieve your targets that you shared with me, and all the best on that. So आप Unreal Engine authorized instructor हैं और पहले Unreal Engine के authorized training center भी operate कर रहे हैं, और एक skill ये ऐसा है जिसकी demand जब मैं टर्की में, यूएई में, सऊदीया में, इस बेल्ट में देख रहा हूँ जहाँ बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स की इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही है। शयान बोल रहे हैं टर्की काफ़ी कंपेरेबल मार्केट है पाकिस्तान से, और अब वो भी इस पर बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं 3D रियल टाइम पाइपलाइन में। आई नो कि आपके पास भी काफ़ी बड़ा पाइपलाइन है, बहुत सारे लोग आर इंटरेस्टेड नाउ टू लर्न अनरियल इंजन। अगर आप थोड़ा सा क्विकली बता दें कि क्या उनको चाहिए टू कॉन्टैक्ट यू टू गेट ऑन बोर्ड एंड टू स्टार्ट लर्निंग द स्किल्स टू गेट ऑन दैट जर्नी ऑफ बिकमिंग अ गेम डेवलपर एंड डिज़ाइनर।
Okay, so if anyone's interested in learning Unreal, क्योंकि जब मैं वापस आया था from overseas, मैंने identified किया था कि there's not many Unreal Engine developers in Pakistan उस time पे. This is 2018, and बाहर तो बहुत काम हो रहा था in Unreal Engine, because as I'm sure most of you know, Unreal Engine is used outside of games as well. तो अगर किसी को Unreal Engine सीखना है, right now at the moment we don't charge anything to learn Unreal Engine, and even to support the Pakistani industry, अगर आपके पास हार्डवेयर भी नहीं है, because Unreal Engine हार्डवेयर इंटेंसिव सॉफ्टवेयर है, हम लोग एपिक के साथ मिलके we provide virtual machines. So anyone, anywhere in Pakistan, just with using an internet connection and a Chrome or an internet browser, can access Unreal Engine, can come learn a short course with us. Total course का duration is anywhere from 8 weeks to 3 months. लेकिन हम it's not a master class, it's a foundational training. फिर उसके बाद you can go on to learn independently, develop your skills in Unreal Engine, and this is a constant running thing. अगर आप interested है, you can get in touch with me. realityforgeasia.com is the website, and we've been very humbled to receive such a big response from Pakistan. हमारा जो first cohort was just 8 people, and our last cohort got 215 applications, so all from Pakistan, and they are so talented. It amazes us Discord में क्या क्या हो रहा है. This is
you guys
just
keep
local.
going with that pace on training, तो I'm sure कि next year जब हम इस panel पे बैठे होंगे तो at least if not more 50% women भी होंगे और बहुत सारे young fresh developers होंगे.
Yes,
so thank you. इमरान, सबसे बड़ा issue ये है कि other than skills जो game बना चुके हैं उसने कहते हैं बेचना है, और marketing के लिए बहुत सारे platforms ट्रेडिशनल जो बिज़नेस के लिए होते हैं वो गेम के लिए उतने मौजूद नहीं है, ख़ासतौर पे कोई अगर इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिजिटल मीडिया की फील्ड से ताल्लुक़ रखता है. क्विकली बताइए क्या आपके पास वो ट्रिक्स हैं या ऑप्शंस हैं जो आप शेयर करना चाहेंगे लोगों के साथ, where they can quickly go talk about more about what they're doing in the game business and quickly get the promotions.
Quickly, distributing or let's say marketing games has become very similar to marketing movies. It's not just about whether you can download it or watch it on Netflix. It's about where else you can see it, how you can experience it in ways other than in theaters. I think what we're also trying to do with IGN and with our streaming platform and our other community platform that we've created is to give local developers and local game studios a platform through which they can very cost effectively get traction into the local market, and so that they can create some sort of a user base that obviously helps them in down the line in tapping into an international market. So I think hum to sirf ek log hain, but generally I think people can in touch with us and in other such companies and try to create a local audience and engage gamers not just through Steam Shop or through the Epic Shop or whatever, but also through conventional marketing methods, because gaming is now more of an experience. It's a transmedia experience. It's just like you're excited for Black Adam or anything. It's just like that. So yeah.
कुछ ऐसा पहले मैंने देखा था कि यहाँ पे दो बहुत बड़े गेम टाइटल्स ने, मैं नाम नहीं लूँगा, वो कहेंगे कंपटीशन के नाम ले रहा है, वो इसलिए कि उन्होंने गाने बनाए उर्दू में और लोकल गाने बनाए, और इसी हॉल में एक बहुत बड़ा ई स्पोर्ट्स कॉम्पिटिशन हुआ जिसके लिए भी बड़े सॉन्ग बने, बिल बोर्ड्स लगे, एंड आई थिंक दैट वाज अ ग्रेट थिंग कि हम पाकिस्तान में शैम्पूज के, गाड़ियों के और बिस्किट के और टूथपेस्ट के तो एड्स देख रहे हैं बिल बोर्ड्स पे, गेम्स के नहीं देख रहे।
बहुत क्विकली आपको ये बता दो कि इवन फॉर द प्रोडक्ट्स दैट वी आर बिल्डिंग, ऑल द साउंड ट्रैक्स एंड एवरीथिंग फॉर दैट इज locally produced, local hip hop, nice. Local music, even the artwork, even the iconography, because इससे बहुत फर्क पड़ता है.
Very nice. Quickly,
I did buy a billboard once.
Sorry?
I did buy a billboard to shamelessly promote my company.
Ah, very
in
nice.
Lahore, yeah.
So एक तो अच्छी बात है कि आपने वो endorse भी कर दिया point, लेकिन quickly you have a different case as well. आपने एक success की बात की कि success देख के बहुत सारे लोग पीछे आते हैं और ecosystem develop होता है. You are, mashallah, one of those successful studios. What advice do you have for those who are starting or struggling, who made their prototype and they're finding those investors जो पहले $30,000-$50,000 के चेक लिख के और उनको आगे लेके चलें? Some advice for those who are just starting in this industry. Very short, crisp.
I would honestly say go to M Labs and showcase your project. In all honesty, because I think they're going to level you up and teach you what a real benchmark is. 100%.
वेरी गुड। यासिर, आपके कोर्ट में बॉल आ गई है, तो आप बताइए कि जब वो आपके पास आएँ तो आप क्या करेंगे, क्या सर्विसेज हैं जो एम लैब्स प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, एंड व्हाट्स द जर्नी गोना बी लाइक फॉर सच अ स्टूडियो? And this is the closing remark as well.
Before I comment on that, a quick comment that women are not just the majority or major player base now. Women are also the premium market actually. So your games have higher CPMs if more women are playing your game. Yeah. And we have had a few games that have had 65 to 70% women audience actually. One of our games, Super Salon, had that kind of audience globally.
I think Candy Crush globally is a great example.
Yeah,
शायद कोई ऐसा household हो जिसमें कोई खातून ना खेलती हो। मुझे तो रोज वो एप्पल पे क्रेडिट कार्ड का बिल आ जाता है।
Most of the match
का सुबह मॉर्निंग के पहले वाले मैच का,
most of the casual match 3 puzzle genres are actually women dominant player bases, जो match 3 puzzle genres.
There you go.
But I think Shayan is absolutely right in terms of कि put your game out there. हम बहुत ज़्यादा साइलो में चीज़ बनाते रहते हैं, हम सोचते हैं हमको बहुत अच्छी चीज़ बना रहे हैं और अपनी खुद ही उसको देख रहे होते हैं, खुद ही उसको रोज़ उस पर काम कर रहे होते हैं. आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू गो आउट देयर एंड मीट अदर पीपल एंड डिस्कस योर आइडिया एंड डिस्कस व्हाट यू हैव बिल्ट एंड शो इट टू अदर्स एंड शो इट टू एवरीबडी दैट यू कम अक्रॉस एंड सी कि लोग क्या करते हैं. ऑब्जर्व इंस्टेड ऑफ टेलिंग देम, डिस्क्राइबिंग योर प्रोडक्ट, ऑब्जर्व, लिसन, एंड आई थिंक दैट हेल्प्स अ लॉट. ऑन M Labs front, by the way, this year we graduated 95 women in our program. We are primarily also dedicatedly working in the direction to change the industry mein women representation increases, and each year the percentage of women, more and more women are graduating in our program as well, and they are doing an amazing job in terms of that. There is a lot of talent out there. M Labs ke case mein, one of the key things that we provide beyond training is a lot of hand holding. So for instance, in one of the game jams that we did, the last one that we just did, we did about 400 plus one-to-one mentoring meetings with the teams that were participating. So that's a lot of mentoring in ideation and execution phase. And I think that's one of the key things. We need to have this mindset in terms of investing in people. And there's a true potential out there. I'm saying it from experience. I'll just very quick example and I'll end this. सब लोग यहाँ बैठते हैं जब इस जगह आकर तो बात करते हैं पाकिस्तान में बहुत potential है. A lot of times it sounds like repetitive and cliche for a lot of people. यार हर बंदा आके ही बात करता है बहुत potential है, बहुत potential है. We are seeing this firsthand. Just a quick example. In our programs, students first started beating professionals. Then recently in the game jam that we did, हमने teachers को compete कराया students के साथ. Top 15 games, there wasn't even a single teachers game. So students are better than teachers. They are better than most of the professionals in the industry as well. So there is actually real potential. and I think you need to come up there, join communities. गर्ल जो यहाँ पर भी लोग बैठे हैं, शॉन है, इसरा है, ये काम कर रहे हैं, गेम ट्रेन है, और इदारे काम करें. Just join a community, come up there, meet people, build something, show it to people. So that will definitely change things.
Thank you so much, Ji.